Jai Hind everyone. My name is Navjot Singh and I welcome you to another interesting episode of this podcast. For the last few weeks or so, there has been a lot of frenzy around airline security. Something that has intrigued passengers, experts and the common public alike. और इस संदर्भ में हमारा आज का ये पॉडकास्ट एक प्रयास है to make you understand the various dynamics involved around passenger security, around airline security, and what are the steps that can be taken to, kind of preempt and prevent any kind of mishap. And to discuss this very important topic, we have on board uh, our renowned Colonel Rajeev Bhagat. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much. And rather, you very rightly brought it that this is one of the requirement which is required to be addressed. And every viewer, I think, most of our country people are watching any news which is related with the airlines.
Right.
I tell you, when we were children, it used to be a dream kit to travel in the airlines. It's something a different world, a kind of a glamorous world. And as we grew, of course, the things became little
Easier.
common, easier, affordable.
Right.
But when everybody is traveling in any type of a airline or a aircraft, they are totally in a very happy mindset. But when unfortunate incident occurs, which has happened with our Air India flights, the 171, and that was very sad. And first of all, I definitely pay my homage to those who have lost their lives,
Right.
and my total sincere heartfelt condolences to their relatives.
Right.
Well, anyway, we proceed with our
Right.
topic.
Right. So सर, एक जो चीज़ है पिछले कुछ दिनों में हमने देखा है अहमदाबाद प्लेन क्रैश के बाद the unfortunate incident that happened, leading to a loss of so many innocent lives who were unaware, and doctors in the hospital also were the collateral damage. उसके बाद हमने एक और चीज़ देखी है कि बहुत सारे प्लेन्स रीरूट किए गए हैं या कुछ ऐसी न्यूज़ बहुत सुनने में आ रही है, and how some planes were grounded, some were reported of technical malfunction, and जो लोगों के बीच में एक तरह का एंजाइटी डेवलप हो रहा है अब एयर ट्रैवल को लेके. सो एज समवन हु हैज बीन एसोसिएटेड, हु हैज सर्व्ड एज अ स्काई मार्शल एज वेल, व्हाट इज योर इनिशियल असेसमेंट? आपकी एक इनिशियल असेसमेंट क्या है? ये जो एंजाइटी है लोगों में, क्या एयरलाइन ट्रैवल इतना अनसेफ है?
This is absolutely the people have definitely that confidence has been eroded while traveling in any aircraft, as I mentioned earlier. That there is a definitely urgent requirement to carry out the audit of this machine. Of a common man going for some professional or a kind of a vacation trip is unaware about these things. They are technically not qualified. जो आपका क्वेश्चन है, देखिए मैं इस पूरे थ्रेट परसेप्शन को एयरलाइंस के बीच में दो भागों में मैं देखता हूँ. एक तो पहला आपका आता है कि दैट एनीथिंग विच इज हैपनिंग बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्निकल फेलियर,
एयरलाइंस
राइट. दूसरा थ्रेट होता है because of in a present hostile environment, if the people are not aware if by chance the aircraft is hijacked.
Okay.
So these are two major threat perception, and these are the key areas which are really required to be addressed, and people should definitely keep themselves totally aware about these threats.
Right.
These things can occur.
Right.
But that is definitely not the solution. Solution ये है जो Dreamliner 787 that aircraft Boeing, जिसको कई सालों से ये 12 साल this machinery was 12 years old, और इससे पहले वो पेरिस का एक ट्रिप लेके आ चुका था। जब इसके बीच में पहले भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे थे, दो प्रॉब्लम्स वर ओवरलुक्ड, और किसी ने वीडियो भी बनाया था कि जब उनके बेसिक जो अंदर का एसी या कोई और चीजें नहीं चल रही,
मैं ये चीज समझ
These are indicators.
इस चीज का मैं समझना चाहूंगा कि एसी का नहीं चलना या नॉर्मल, क्या ये एयरप्लेन के चलने से कुछ उसका इम्पैक्ट है? दैट कैन बी अ माइनर ग्लिच, बिकॉज जो इंजन है दैट उसका माल फंक्शन, और ये जो सोशल मीडिया पे एक तरह का एक हल्ला बलू भी क्रिएट किया जा रहा था, क्या हम इसको अलग अलग करके देखना चाहिए?
वी शुड नॉट एक्चुअली। देखो, एक चीज बड़ी सीधी आती है, I have purchased a ticket for at the say I have spent around 10,000 bucks.
तो एसी भी नहीं चल रहा, वो एक
That is one.
गुस्सा आ रहा है।
Okay, चलो वो छोड़ दीजिए। That shows कि how much service or the servicing standard has
fallen.
gone. अगर उसमें compromise हुआ है, don't you think कि while carrying out the initial checks and all that, that must have been overlooked?
कुछ लेकिन ना रहे।
दो ब्लैक बॉक्स तो है इनके पास, डाटा हैज बीन निकाल चुके हैं, उसको अभी एनालाइज किया जाएगा,
आया तो नहीं बाहर कुछ,
राइट? द थिंग्स विल कम इन, इवन द पायलट इज नॉट अवेयर टू व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैज हैपेंड, ही इज ओनली barely flying on the that again the confidence कि my ground staff whosoever, I'm not an aeronautical engineer honestly, but this much a bit knowledge, whatever the knowledge I can assess, there are certain pre-checks cockpit के अंदर के होते हैं, बाहर के होते हैं, and there are certain things, you know, like एकदम जहाज 625 फीट की ऊंचाई में जाकर नीचे एकदम आता है, stalls. What is the major reason about it? Is it a hydraulic failure? Is it an electrical failure? Is it a flap problem? Is it that the contaminated fuel has not gone inside, which has created a malfunctioning in the engines? And the second thing, a boy called Aryan, who had gone to Ahmedabad to spend his vacation, he has taken another video. There are two videos. One is inside the aircraft, one is outside. And while taking, and while showing to the viewers, the aircraft was producing a different type of a sound.
right?
There is something called RAM air turbine. That is the auxiliary or the backup plan for if the engine fails.
Right.
And that actually is totally visible below the fuselage, which is fitted there. It gets installed automatically. वो आपने बाहर आता है, और उसके ध्यान से अगर आप वीडियो को चेक करेंगे, आपको वो रैम नजर आएगा.
Okay.
It's a small fan which get operated with the help of a wind. अब विंड कहाँ मिलनी थी उसको, इतनी वो उसकी स्पीड नहीं थी 170 नॉट्स फर्स्टली, ऊपर से अगर इतनी तेजी से नहीं जा रहा तो वो पंखा भी इतना नहीं घूमेगा. They could have landed safely.
Right.
Another part, pilot didn't have even option to land it in a क्या कहते हैं in the nearest field. Reason, I think so, I may be wrong on this part. There is a ruling that no habitation should be around the airports, minimum 10 kilometers, whereas that airport is totally habited all around. Pilot had no option. He could have put his throttles ahead, or rather, joystick ahead, and must have allowed the aircraft, but poor chap,
avoid
anyway.
the damage. Anyway, sir.
So these are the probable reasons.
Let's try to understand what are the major threats to an aircraft when it is in the air. What are the major threats? For example, as you talked about the hijack and all of that, let's leave that for a moment. Technical failure, for example, when bird hit करता है कई बार, birds they hit. That also can cause some kind of engine blast or something of the sort. Please walk us through that.
Okay. I still remember once I was traveling from Srinagar to Chandigarh, and I hats off to the airmanship of the pilot, and I congratulated him when we came down. It was in the mid-air somewhere, I can probably 15 minutes short of Chandigarh. There was some kind of a banking,
Okay.
and I have got a very little knowledge about it, but as I used to really play these flight simulators and all that, so I assess that something has gone wrong, right? Though I'm not a pilot. And I was absolutely correct. The pilot also came out of the cockpit. Aircraft was still flying, but it was in this mode. Then thereafter, I heard that all the engines are off and again started in the mid-air.
Is it possible?
And it's a gliding at some speed.
Okay.
A few seconds you can always,
Okay.
it looks like.
Minor.
This is what my assessment.
Right.
Primarily to balance over the,
Maybe malfunction
Yeah.
or whatever could be.
okay. So that aircraft had 4 engines actually.
Okay.
To bring it to the normalcy, अब जहाज के अंदर 2 इंजन होते हैं and one engine is capable of landing the aircraft safely if one engine goes off. But in this case, both engines. Where were the emergency checks?
Yes.
Right? तो बर्ड हिट हुआ था हमारे उस जहाज में,
Mm-hmm.
and when we landed, to my horror I can see it. One engine was totally smashed
By the bird.
by the bird.
That's why it was taken.
Imagine, yes.
Okay.
So
How much impact?
How much impact? तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि आपका दोनों इंजन, you need to, देखो we are only need to, I'm not pushing anyone or kind of generating a scare in anybody's mind. After all, it's a machinery. You are going in a car, some malfunctioning occurs, that will also stop.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly that. बट कार के लिए हम जाके अपनी सर्विसिंग कराते हैं महंगे से महंगे शोरूम.
Mm-hmm.
तो हेयर ऑल्सो वाई फ्लाइट्स आर गेटिंग grounded. Why so many flights suddenly?
So there need to be a regulatory
Yeah.
checks and all of these things.
Hong Kong bound aircraft flight was again directed back.
Mm.
I can show you, there are certain details. That is in a Sunday Tribune Spectrum, 29 June. A beautiful article. A crisis in the aviation sector called for urgent upgradation and enforcement of safety standards. And there are a couple of flights which I have highlighted have been really sent back
Rerouted
in
or
past 2-3 months. It's alarming. It is definitely a family traveling with a certain dreams. The High Court of Bombay has also levied fine on couple of
Airlines.
definitely. But what is required is DGCA need to
Needs.
really take the entire
Pull up
things.
gauges.
Absolutely.
Right, sir. Now, sir, let's come back to understanding the, the kind of security checks that one is subjected to as one enters the airport from the time one deboards. What are the security? How can, if we talk about you talked about hijack of an aircraft. So how does, despite the security checks, terrorists or miscreants or hijackers enter कैसे करते हैं? आप वो security checks में lapse कहाँ होता है? I want this, and along with that also your role as an sky marshal. एक sky marshal उस चीज़ को कैसे perceive करते हैं, neutralize करते हैं? I want to understand this entirely.
Though it is a kind of very highly sensitive operation.
Sensitive matter.
Your first question is related to how that hijackers.
Enter कैसे करें?
Yesterday only, I was going through one story of the podcast on a TV. And it's a live story. I'm forgetting the name of this hijacker. who is a US citizen, a flight was going to Seattle, and that is for 30 minutes flying time. So I've forgotten his name, very, very prominent. It happened in 1971.
Okay.
Anyway, I can tell you the story.
Yes, sir.
During those good old days, whatever the baggage you are carrying to the cabin, it never used to be checked. In
Okay.
those days.
Okay.
I'm not talking about.
1971.
Yes, 71.
Okay.
That man, he entered with a briefcase, sat there, called the air hostess, and gave her some slip. And air hostess, she thought that he's trying to flirt. Then he said, Miss, you need to read the check which I have given you. Right? When she read it, उसमें लिखा था, I got a bomb. And you kindly come and I will show you. And he showed her. Then he said, there were 33 passengers in that aircraft. Without harming anyone, without making anybody conscious, he told, go and tell the pilot, I demand this much money.
Okay.
And then the damn thing, the person came, the chairman of that particular flight. Alright, down. He never wanted to highlight this thing in international forum
Right.
because of his company. The money was arranged, and where the flight was supposed to land in 30 minutes, it landed after 3 hours because they were arranging money.
Negotiations for
तो kept moving. Technical snap करके pilot ने समझाया कि भैया हम नहीं लैंड कर पाएंगे.
जी.
When they landed, all the passengers were sent down. The money was brought in the aircraft.
Okay. Easily.
Aircraft again took off from there. He said कि your flap will be at 50-degree angle. You will try fly at the altitude of 10,000 feet.
But why did they comply once the passengers are gone? What?
You see, as I said it, that the chairman of the company didn't highlight the entire episode to the international forum, basically to save his company.
Image.
Right? Image. Now, aircraft again took off. Somewhere in the mid, this friend had 2 parachutes.
So there are no passengers, only the crew and that bomber.
Yeah.
That hijacker.
He was carrying the parachute in the briefcase also. Packed.
Okay.
He jumped.
In mid-air.
He jumped and not traceable till date.
He's gone.
Today, till date, they have not able to track that man.
Well,
Anyway,
that is
it's something like a
something not to
movie story.
something not to be appreciated. But
Absolutely
that's
not appreciated.
Quite a heist.
What I'm trying to tell
Quite
you.
a heist from that guy. Quite a heist.
But in present scenario,
What happens now?
still after the security check, if somebody has managed to go inside with couple of stuff which is hostile in nature,
तो सर ये पॉसिबल कहाँ है? आप देखो सिक्योरिटी चेक्स में तो बीप तो करेगा अगर आप कोई एमिनेशन लेके जा रहे हो या नाइफ लेके जा रहे हो वो तो बीप होके पकड़ा जाएगा.
everything will be visible.
Visible.
Machine is very foolproof, and the only labs can be
Scope कहाँ है?
the internal.
कोई बंदा उनका अपना अंदर है वो जाके सप्लाई कर दे. या ऐसा भी होता है बैटरीज जो हैं batteries are not allowed. They can assemble the batteries
So,
there and
You know, there are various means to create a havoc in the media. And that is what exactly the terrorists have found this way to attack the global attention and demanding certain things.
political
Whatever.
agenda को highlight करने
Yeah.
के लिए.
And very unfortunate that our Air India flight was also hijacked, was taken to Kandahar,
I see it one.
and that was very sad. And after that, we started sending our Sky Marshal for the security.
थोड़ा सा I want to interject. Please help the audience understand what is a Sky Marshal. We discussed in our previous discussion also, but I want to delve a little deeper. So, are these Sky Marshals, how, from where are they recruited? What is their role? And are they present in every airline? How many? Whatever you unclassified, you can share.
To my viewers, I only say that whenever you are traveling in a sensitive areas, you need not to worry, you are in the safe hands. First, these sky marshals primarily belong to one of the very great organization of ours, that is National Security Guard, the Black Hat Commandos. They are highly trained, they are sharpshooters, they are very well trained in unarmed combat, and they have rehearsed certain situations, and that too in conjunction with the airliners. Okay? They will be sitting next to you, you will not come to know. And they will not reveal their identity also.
Absolutely.
And they should not. And you will not even come to know about it. Right? But they have got a very prime role to play in the terms of safety, security. They know anybody approaching to the cockpit, the unwarranted person who is not allowed will be brought down.
Okay, sir. Who knows? Only the pilot knows who are the sky marshals?
Pilot knows, but he has not seen their faces, only through the sitting plan.
He only knows their sitting plan, he does not know the identity.
Rest, no world knows.
Nobody knows. That's important also for
that is one part.
Operational.
Secondly, they also undergo the frisking like a normal passenger. They are carrying certain things with them for your protection, nothing to worry, and the only thing is if anything is happening in the midair, they will come into the action.
Right.
In case something is while you are boarding the flight or in the waiting bay or after security check, they will still not reveal their identity.
Right.
They will take the help of our security agencies and deployed at the airport.
Okay.
Right? And subsequently, the most vulnerable time is when you are moving from the security bay to aircraft in the bus.
Okay.
Engines are on. At that time, terrorists may exploit that situation.
Okay. So their role, if I am not wrong, sir, the role of the spy marshal is mostly when the flight is mid-air.
Their role starts the moment they go into that particular bus.
Okay.
Actually,
okay.
And rather I must say their role starts the moment they step inside the airport.
Okay.
They start reading the faces and they start noticing the suspicious actions of the people. That actually they are trained for it.
So how for example, if I understand, कई बार sensitive जो locations के airports होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे आप कौन सी body language cues को watch करते हैं? What are those body language which normal passenger से मुझे थोड़ा कि
That is the only thing.
I'm generally
only a general.
Generally say.
I will say.
How do you differentiate normal
I
passenger and someone कुछ तो अलग है?
Generally, when I was school kid, I never used to do my homework.
Okay.
So my body language used to be very different when I used to sit in the class.
And
that particular nervous, sweating, the teacher is going to come and get hold of my. This is what exactly.
चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका.
Absolutely. So this is what body language. And certain people are very hardy. I am talking about the terrorists. They may not show any expression, but still, mark my word, any highly trained terrorist, if is trying to carry out any misadventure, is definitely have got a certain things. Yes. And that is what the Sky Marshal is coming into role.
वही तो सर इंटरव्यू देने हम जा रहा है, बच्चा इंटरव्यू रूम के बाहर बैठा है, तो नर्वस तो होता ही है ना. तो ये भी उनके लिए उस तरह की सिचुएशन है. एनीवेज, नाउ सर, वंस द प्लेन हैज बीन हाईजैक्ड, नाउ हाउ डज द नेगोशिएशन हैपन? बिकॉज देयर इज अ कमिटी ऑफ सेक्रेटरीज ऑफ एंटी हाईजैकिंग, कोसा, COSH, and it has a tiered structure. And when that hijack is happen, अब वो negotiations हो रही हैं. What I can understand from my experience कि यहाँ पे एक psychologist भी बैठा होता है. There is somebody from the government, somebody from the airline. How these negotiations happen?
Definitely, it is a kind of a committee which has been formed. In this committee, cabinet secretary, Mr. P.K. Sinha is the protocol officer for this.
Heading this.
I believe. And certainly our national security advisor, Mr. Doval, also is definitely part of it.
Oversight.
Yeah, that is a very good. And PMO.
Right.
And thereafter, there are counter hijacking teams of energy all all the time on alert. There is a one particular team which is kept on alert all the time, 24 hours, to act or to react to that particular situation within some time, any part of the country. And moreover, number of hubs have been opened all over the country, basically to minimize the time. So this is what exactly alert is sounded.
Now let's
Teams
come
are mobilized.
how negotiations are happening. What is the procedure, like for example Kandahar की हम बात करें IC-814. For example, let's imagine a situation. Now a plane has been hijacked, and now these hijackers, the leader of the hijacker, he is now sent to the ATC.
Most of the times you must have seen in the movies, every negotiator is a very matured and experienced man. He is definitely there is some time what happened.
Time wasting tactics.
There is one is gaining time. Secondly, through talks only some time, the people mellow down. The people who have hijacked, right? They all the time keep the option open, and that is the time. That is absolutely the time for the security agencies to act.
Right.
You know, and there is certain requirement of carrying out diplomatic talks if the aircraft has been taken to in some other country. They are
Kandahar
Afghanistan. There are certain protocols. The people they are rehearsing. It is not that during that time only we start opening our diaries and start referring. Every day the people who are required to act at that particular time, they are carrying out rehearsals of the procedures, and where exactly on ground the aircraft will be parked, what is the zero line, how the commandos will approach, and how the things will be carried out. They will look, military action is again here is the last option. The reason is very simple, because everything is going to happen if their firefight is on at a close quarter. There are chances that innocent people
may get collateral damage.
So, aim is to pacify the situation by through talks, and that is what it is.
कई बार ऐसा भी होता है जब प्लेन अभी लैंडिंग के लिए परमिशन मांगता है, फॉर एग्जांपल 814 में पाकिस्तान में लैंड करने की परमिशन नहीं मिली, फिर दुबई में भी वो घूम के फिर दुबई और बाद में अफगानिस्तान. So this is a very complicated situation, and we need calm heads to deal with this situation.
The only thing is that the audience needs to understand one point. Still you are in a safe hand. The pilots are experienced. There is certain, definitely it happens, the unfortunate incidents. It is not in our country, it has happened, but a very sad. Those who will lose their wife, they are the people who understand more deeply. But it should not really overrun, or rather give us some type of a thought in our mind that no, we should not go in the aircraft and stop traveling by the aircraft or the airlines. Please have confidence. But what I am trying to say, the agencies, whosoever is involved in carrying out the real requirement of servicing of the aircraft, if it is required to be grounded, need to be done immediately. And there should be a replacement, so that their confidence should be bought.
Right. Thank you, sir. I am sure through this conversation we were able to bring out the various aspects of airline security, about what happens when the plane is hijacked, what are the other threats that an aircraft faces, and how there are security protocols in place, including sky marshals and other agencies, and how there is a committee on secretaries of anti-hijacking. I'm sure the audiences will also try to delve deeper and try to educate themselves on these sensitive topics and not indulge in sensationalism. That's all we
Well, thanks, Adam. And in fact, whatever the instructions are given to you by the air cabin crew, that you must take it seriously.
Yes.
If there are incidents which has happened, that aircraft has landed on the on water. So you need to be absolutely, and no need to panic.
Yes.
If there is a technical snag, that will be addressed.
Taken care of.
Yeah. That is
So,
what.
thank
And
you.
have faith.
Right.
The Almighty is there.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
sir.
for coming on the
Thank
podcast.
you.
It means a lot.
Okay.
So, thank you, friends, for tuning into this meaningful discussion. And we'll see you in another episode. Until then, it's a goodbye. Thank you. Jai Hind.